Everything you want may be sitting on the other side of a version of you that you keep avoiding. Let that sink in. Not the lucky version, not the perfect version, the honest one, the disciplined one, the one who stops hiding behind delay, mood, comfort, and excuses. Most people do not miss the life they want because it is impossible. They miss it because they keep reaching for a new future with the same weak habits, the same scattered mind, and the same undisciplined self. And then they call it bad luck. But it is not bad luck. It is misalignment. It is wanting more while refusing to become more. Stay with me because this will get personal. If your life has felt stuck, if your effort has not matched your dream, if part of you knows you are meant for more, but you keep slipping into old patterns, then this message is for you. Because life is always responding, not to what you say you want at night, not to what you post, not to what you imagine in your best mood. Life responds to what you repeat, what you tolerate, what you prepare for, what you do when nobody is watching. And once you understand that, everything starts to change. Not slowly in some distant way, sometimes all at once, sometimes with one serious decision that finally has weight behind it. Most people stay hungry for years, not because life rejected them, but because they never learned how to stand in front of life the right way. They wish, they hope, they compare, they complain, they wait for the right timing, the right support, the right confidence, the right sign. They keep waiting for some invisible permission to become the person they keep talking about. But while they wait, life keeps moving, time keeps moving, strong people keep moving, opportunities keep moving. So the tragedy is not that people cannot get what they want. The real tragedy is that they spend so much energy wanting without becoming the kind of person who can carry what they want. That is a painful difference. Desire by itself feels powerful, but without inner change, it becomes a form of torture. You dream of peace while feeding chaos in your own mind. You dream of success while protecting weak habits. You dream of respect while breaking your own word. You dream of love while abandoning yourself the moment loneliness appears. Then you ask why life is not giving you more. But life is always answering you. It answers through your standards, your actions, your consistency, your patience, your focus, and your emotional control. This is why the first battle is never outside. It is inside. It is the fight between the self that wants comfort and the self that wants growth, the self that wants quick pleasure, and the self that wants lasting meaning. And a divided person cannot move with full force. So begin here. Become painfully clear about what you truly want. Not what sounds impressive, not what gets applause, not what other people told you should matter. Strip the noise away and ask harder questions. What kind of life do you actually want to wake up to? What kind of mind do you want to live inside? What kind of body do you want to carry through the years? What kind of relationships do you want to protect? What kind of work would make your struggle feel meaningful instead of empty? Most people are vague, and then they wonder why their life feels vague. They say they want success. Success in what form? They say they want peace. Peace from what exactly? They say they want money. For what purpose? They say they want love. But are they looking for real love or just someone to rescue them from themselves? Be precise. Life becomes clearer when you become clearer. A weak mind speaks in fog. A strong mind speaks in direction. When you are not honest about what matters, every trend can pull you, every opinion can confuse you, every shortcut can seduce you. Today you want one life, tomorrow you want the opposite. That is not freedom. That is being ungrounded. And if this is hitting home, keep watching, because the next shift changes everything. Sit with yourself long enough to feel the difference between envy and truth. Many people chase an image, not a real life. But image cannot feed the soul. Validation cannot replace purpose. Being seen is not the same as being fulfilled. Once you know what you want, the next truth is hard but simple. Wanting is cheap. Preparation is rare. Everyone wants the harvest. Very few will prepare the soil. Everyone wants confidence. Very few will train through embarrassment. Everyone wants respect. Very few will build character in private. Everyone wants the reward. Very few will become worthy of the reward. This is where many people break down. They fall in love with the result, but they stay strangers to the process. They speak about outcomes as if talking about them should be enough. But life does not work that way. You do not receive because you want something badly. You receive because your identity, your behavior, and your patience begin to match the thing you seek. Preparation often looks boring from the outside. Repetition, discipline, silence, early mornings, unseen effort, starting again, failing better, saying no, staying steady when nothing exciting is happening. But in that quiet season, a human being is being shaped. And once shaped, that person moves differently. They no longer need motivation every morning because they have built rhythm. They no longer need applause because they are anchored in purpose. They no longer panic when the door opens because they have already become the person required on the other side. So ask yourself honestly, if you want a healthy body, are you prepared to choose what is good over what is immediate? If you want financial freedom, are you prepared to delay image for stability? If you want a peaceful mind, are you prepared to stop feeding your own agitation? A blessing without capacity becomes a burden. That is why your first job is not to ask for more. It is to become able to hold more. And to do that, you must master your attention, because where your attention goes, your life follows. This sounds simple, but it explains almost everything. A distracted person leaks power all day. They wake up and immediately hand their mind to noise. They check what everyone else is doing before listening to their own thoughts. They consume opinions before building conviction. They let random events decide their mood. Their mind becomes like an open house with no door, no lock, no boundaries. Then they wonder why they feel restless, weak, behind, and unable to create momentum. Attention is your most precious currency, and most people spend it carelessly. A person who cannot direct attention cannot direct life. That is why stillness matters so much. Not because stillness is passive, but because stillness teaches command. When you sit with yourself long enough, you start to notice how easily you are pulled. One thought takes you into fear. One memory drags you into regret. One notification pushes you into comparison. One desire turns into impulse. And if you are never aware of this, you become a servant to every inner and outer disturbance. But the moment you see it clearly, a new possibility opens. You realize that you do not have to obey every thought. You do not have to react to every feeling. You do not have to chase every urge. You can return. You can choose. You can focus. Everything valuable requires concentrated attention, skill, wealth, trust, peace, wisdom, all of it. If you keep watering weeds, do not complain about the state of your garden. Protect your attention like something sacred, because it is. Then comes the part most people keep avoiding. Stop negotiating with discomfort. The life you want is usually hidden behind something you have been trying not to face. The conversation you do not want to have. The routine you do not want to keep. The truth you do not want to admit. The fear you do not want to walk through. The loneliness you do not want to endure while building something real. You say you want more, but every time discomfort appears, you retreat. Understand this clearly. The person you are right now is perfectly built for the comfort zone you keep protecting. If you want a different life, you must build a different tolerance. Comfort is one of the biggest seductions in modern life because it wears the mask of safety. It tells you to rest when you need effort. It tells you to delay when you need action. It tells you to avoid when you need courage. It tells you to numb when you need awareness. It tells you to settle when you need standards. Listen to it too often and you become fragile. Not evil, not broken, fragile, unable to handle pressure, unable to face rejection, unable to stay disciplined when results are slow, unable to hear criticism without collapsing. Talent cannot carry what weakness keeps dropping. So train yourself to become familiar with necessary discomfort. Wake up before you feel ready. Work when the mood is missing. Speak truth when silence would be easier. Train your body when the bed feels sweeter. Save money when spending would impress people. Walk away from what is misaligned even when part of you wants to stay. This is where strength is built. Not in theory, in friction, in resistance. In those small moments when two versions of you are fighting and you choose the higher one. And this leads to something even deeper. Become trustworthy to yourself. A person who cannot trust himself lives in quiet weakness. He says he will start tomorrow, and tomorrow arrives, and he delays again. He says he will stop the habit, and he returns to it at night. He says he will stay calm, and small things shake him. He says he wants change, but his actions keep voting for the same life. Over time, something dangerous happens. He stops believing his own words. He loses authority in his own mind. So even when he makes a real promise, a deeper part of him no longer listens, because it has seen too much inconsistency. Self-trust is not built by positive thinking. It is built by evidence. By showing yourself again and again that when you say something matters, you act like it matters. This is why discipline is not only productive, it is deeply personal. Every disciplined act sends a message inward. My word has weight. My intentions are not decoration. My standards are alive. When you keep promises to yourself, your inner posture changes. Your mind becomes less noisy because you are no longer betraying yourself every day. Your confidence becomes stable because it is not built on fantasy. It is built on proof. You know what you can survive. You know what you can do. You know how you behave when life gets difficult. That creates a peace no applause can give. Real confidence is quiet. It is not loud performance. It is not pretending to be unshaken. It is the calm knowledge that you can rely on yourself. So start small if you must, but be serious. Promise less. Fulfill more. Choose a few non-negotiables. Keep them. Let your own mind see that you mean what you say. Now here is where many people get confused. They hear patience and think it means waiting around. That is not patience. That is passivity wearing noble clothes. Real patience is active. It is disciplined waiting. It is steady action without immediate emotional reward. It is the willingness to plant, water, protect, repeat, and keep going without demanding instant fruit. The modern mind hates this. It wants proof now, transformation now, results now, the body now, the money now, the healing now, the recognition now. But because it wants everything quickly, it damages the very process that could have produced something deep and stable. You cannot rush roots by pulling a tree upward. You cannot rush mastery by pretending. You cannot rush peace by escaping discomfort. Growth has rhythm. Life has timing. Wisdom is learning how to work intensely while also respecting that timing. Patience protects you from desperation, and desperation is dangerous because it makes you abandon standards. Desperate for love, you accept what insults your soul. Desperate for money, you trade away integrity. Desperate for attention, you become artificial. Desperate for fast success, you skip the foundation and later collapse under the weight of your own ambition. But a patient person has depth. They are moving, but not begging. Building, but not panicking. Working, but not forcing. They understand that what arrives too early is often unstable, so they stay rooted. This does not mean they become lazy. It means they become calm in an active way. They keep learning, keep refining, keep correcting, keep showing up. And if you have ever felt like quitting because nothing seems to be happening, listen carefully. Some of the biggest changes in life are invisible for a long time before they become visible all at once. A disciplined mind is built quietly before anyone notices. A strong body is shaped long before the mirror fully shows it. Trust is built long before deep relationships reveal their strength. Financial stability is built long before it looks impressive. Inner peace is built long before the face softens and the voice slows down. If you quit in the invisible stage, you often betray the very breakthrough you were close to meeting. And sometimes life gives by subtraction before it gives by addition. This is hard for the ego to accept. We think getting what we want will always feel like receiving more. More money, more certainty, more people, more opportunity, more comfort. But often the first gift life gives is removal. It removes illusions. It removes habits that poison you. It removes fake relationships. It removes identities that no longer fit. It removes places where you had become too small. It removes comfort that was keeping you asleep. Because removal hurts. Many people fight the very process that is clearing space for what they asked for. You asked for peace, but peace required you to lose chaos you had become attached to. You asked for growth, but growth required distance from people who only loved the smaller version of you. You asked for self-respect, but self-respect required ending patterns that once gave temporary relief. So when life begins rearranging things, do not rush to call it cruelty. Sometimes it is mercy in a fierce form. There are seasons where progress does not look like gaining, it looks like letting go. Letting go of proving yourself, letting go of fake belonging, letting go of the addiction to distraction, letting go of old pain used as identity. Letting go of the story that because something has been with you for a long time, it deserves a place in your future. At the center of all of this is one deeper law. The life you want is not separate from the person you are becoming. That is why chasing without transforming keeps failing. You keep trying to grab externally what you have not yet built internally. But life mirrors you. It reflects your level of responsibility, your emotional maturity, your ability to endure, your standards, your focus, your courage, your patience, and also your self-deception. One of the easiest ways to remain stuck is to romanticize your intentions while ignoring your behavior. You say you are trying, but are you really? You say you are serious, but what does your routine say? You say you want peace, but how much conflict are you creating with your own thoughts? You say you want freedom, but what are you still enslaved by? Sometimes the kindest thing you can do for yourself is stop speaking to yourself like a fragile child who must be protected from truth. Be compassionate, yes, but also be firm. A meaningful life is not built on self-pity. It is built on self-respect. And understand this too. Getting everything you want does not mean getting every impulse, every fantasy, every craving. Many desires are born from confusion. Some are born from insecurity. Some come from emptiness. A mature person learns to refine desire. Not only how do I get this, but who is desiring this and why? Is this aligned with the person I want to become? Or is it a distraction dressed up as opportunity? The more aware you become, the more your desires mature. Then life becomes less about collecting and more about aligning. Less about appearance and more about becoming, less about consumption and more about mastery. There comes a point where you must decide whether you want to be entertained by your own potential or transformed by your own discipline. Potential feels good because it lets you imagine greatness without paying for it. Discipline is humbling because it asks for action before your identity fully catches up. But only one changes destiny. Every day you are voting. Through habits, through thoughts, through choices, through what you repeat, through what you refuse, through what you tolerate, through what you avoid. Some people keep asking for a sign, but often the sign is already here. The restlessness you feel is a sign. The dissatisfaction you feel is a sign. The quiet knowing that you are meant to live at a higher level is a sign. But a sign is not enough. You must respond. You must move. You must stop worshipping inspiration while neglecting execution. You must stop waiting to feel different before acting different. Action often comes first. Clarity often comes through movement. Strength often comes through carrying a burden. Peace often comes through discipline. Respect often comes through restraint. Wisdom often comes through pain that was observed instead of wasted. So when you wake up tomorrow, do not ask only what you want from life. Ask what life is asking from you in return. More honesty, more courage, more patience, more focus, more responsibility, more letting go, more steadiness. That exchange matters. Life is not a machine where desire alone should produce a result. It is a field of cause and effect. Confusion creates more confusion. Discipline creates strength. Clarity creates direction. Integrity creates trust. Patience creates stability. Focused effort creates possibility. This is not poetry only. It is law. And if you want this change to become real, then bring it into the ordinary parts of your day, because destiny is shaped there. It is shaped in the first hour after you wake up. It is shaped in how quickly you touch your phone, how you speak to yourself, what you feed your mind, whether your body is being trained or neglected, whether your room carries order or confusion, whether your word means something in small moments. Do not underestimate the power of environment. A messy room can become a messy mind. A loud life can hide a weak center. The people around you matter too. If you spend your best energy around people who celebrate distraction, laziness, gossip, and shallow living, do not be surprised when your standards begin to slip. Energy is contagious. So is carelessness. So is focus. So is discipline. Protect your circle. Protect your inputs. Protect your mornings. Protect your speech. Because your words are not harmless. Every time you keep saying, "I am trying," while repeating the same excuse, you train weakness. Every time you say, "This is just how I am," while refusing to improve, you lock yourself inside an old identity. Speak with more precision. Speak with more responsibility. Say less, but let it be true. And build simple rituals that make your future easier to obey. A clear desk, a planned morning, a fixed workout time, a saved amount every week, a limit on distractions, a quiet walk without noise. Small structures create large freedom. People think freedom means having no rules, but real freedom often comes from strong boundaries that protect what matters most. You also need emotional discipline, because many lives are not destroyed by lack of talent, but by unmanaged emotion. One bad mood becomes one wasted day. One insult becomes 1 week of inner drama. One failure becomes a story of personal defeat. One rejection becomes proof that nothing will ever work. But mature people learn to feel without surrendering control. They feel disappointment without becoming hopeless. They feel fear without obeying it. They feel pain without turning it into identity. They feel anger without letting it poison their judgment. This is power, not the absence of emotion, but the ability to remain centered while emotion moves through you. If you can build that, very few things in life will be able to break your direction. Because the truth is, not every hard day means you are on the wrong path. Not every closed door means stop. Not every delay means denial. Sometimes life is testing your depth. Sometimes it is strengthening your roots. Sometimes it is asking, can you stay steady without applause? Can you keep going without quick proof? Can you continue doing the right thing when nobody rewards you for it yet? This is where many people collapse. They do the work only when it feels good. They stay committed only when progress is visible. They become loyal only when convenient. But the people who build strong lives do not live by mood, they live by decision. And when they fail, and they do fail, they do not turn it into a theater of self-destruction. They learn, they reset, they begin again, fast, clean, without drama. That alone can save years of wasted energy. So if you feel behind, do not panic. If you feel stretched, do not run. If life has been cutting things away, do not assume you are losing. You may be becoming available for a better life than the one you were trying to force. The people who seem to get everything they want are rarely just lucky. They are usually the ones who learned how to govern themselves. They learned how to hold desire without being ruled by it. They learned how to endure ordinary days without losing vision. They learned how to stay disciplined when no one cared. They learned how to say no to what steals life and yes to what builds it. They learned that the outer world begins to shift when the inner world stops living in confusion. And once that happens, something remarkable becomes possible. You no longer move through life like someone begging reality to finally be kind. You move like someone who has become capable of meeting reality with strength. Then even the things you have not yet received no longer make you desperate, because you know you are becoming the kind of person who can create, attract, recognize, and protect what matters. That knowing changes your face. It changes your posture. It changes the way you enter a room. It changes the way you spend your mornings. It changes what you tolerate. It changes the future forming around you. This is why life can change faster than you think once the root changes. Sometimes it does not take years. Sometimes it takes one real decision, followed by behavior, protected by repetition, until the life that once felt far away begins to feel normal. So stop staring at the mountain and saying it is too high. Ask whether your legs have been trained. Stop envying visible results and start respecting the invisible process that produced them. Stop saying you will believe in yourself once it works. Believe through the work. Stop waiting for the perfect season. Seasons become powerful by the way you enter them. Stop demanding certainty before commitment. Commitment often creates certainty. Stop asking whether the path will be easy. Ask whether it is worth becoming stronger for. Stop treating your excuses like they are more sacred than your potential. Your life is not a burden you were forced to carry. It is your responsibility, your training ground, your test, your gift, your chance. Maybe nobody is coming to arrange it perfectly for you. Good. Then the waiting is over. No more pretending. No more rehearsing a future you refuse to earn. Become clear. Prepare deeply. Guard your attention. Stop bargaining with comfort. Build self-trust. Practice active patience. Release what weakens you. Keep walking long enough for your life to become undeniable. And when that day comes, it will not feel like magic. It will feel lawful. It will feel earned. It will feel like the outer world finally catching up with the person you decided to become in private. And that is the real shift. Not getting lucky. Not looking powerful. Becoming powerful in a clean, steady, grounded way. The kind that lasts. The kind that no setback can easily shake. The kind that turns desire into direction. Direction into discipline. And discipline into a life that finally looks like it belongs to you.